is the Stock Car Legends Reunion with Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, Buddy Baker, Dick Beatty, Dick Brooks, Richard Childress, Junie Donlevy, Red Farmer, Harry Gant, Eli Gold, Barney Hall, Tom Higgins, Ned Jarrett, Junior Johnson, Cuckoo Marlin, Dave Marcus, Little Bud Moore, David Pearson, Ken Squire, Steve Wade, Darrell Waltrip, Glenn Wood, Leonard Wood, Cale Yarborough. Grab a sandwich and get ready to hear some great stories from the legends of stock car racing.
Dick, tell the story that you told at Buck Bergantz's memorial deal there. It's not cars, it's motorcycle related.
Yeah.
That was a great story.
Many years ago, I raced motorcycles. And in 1952, we went to Richmond. Buck Bergantz, a very good friend of mine who passed away a while back. And we went to Richmond, run a race. On the way home, we got to South Boston. And a car coming north run into us head on. And I went through the windshield. Buck was behind me. I think he pushed me through the windshield because I beat him that day. And then a car hit us in the back. It knocked us on down the road. We went down the embankment and all that stuff. And it never did knock me out, but I felt up there, and I didn't have no damn nose. And I felt over here, and this eye was all not the way it's supposed to be. And I'm sitting there, and I'm bleeding every time my heart pumps, blood flushes out. And here comes Buck. He come down, he grabbed that door, and he jerked it open. Says, Dick, come help me find my motorcycle. I said, you son of a, you find my nose, I'll find it.
Never before and never again will this room be the same. One room filled with the stock car legends you've watched for years. Now, you can have this historical day captured on 4 videotapes for your very own. These videos have never been seen before. They are not available in any store. You can only get them by calling the 800 number on your screen. These 4 tapes are filled with great stories from the racing legends that lived them.
We won it, and I had hit you a time or two that day. My car was handling so bad. And when you hit me, you straightened it out. And I was going. I appreciate that, Dave.
Each video is available for a special introductory price of just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Order all 4 today and save $12.85 in shipping and handling. Over 4 hours of stories with these racing legends you've watched for years. These are the pioneers that created the sport. Don't miss this opportunity to own a piece of racing history.
Just in his birthday suit and all the time, says, pardon me, ma'am.
If my calculating is correct, we've told 5 stories. We've got 4 nakeds and 1 in the skivvies.
Each tape is available for a special introductory price of just $19.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling. Or order the 4-tape set for just $79.80 plus shipping and handling and save.
Let me tell you one on Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip.
Oh, this could be ugly.
For the special introductory price, call the 800 number on your screen right now. Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-267-7533 right now. These tapes are not available anywhere else. You can only get them by calling the 800 number on your screen or by sending a check or money order to Stock Car Legends, Post Office Box 24240, Nashville, Tennessee 37202.
Sitting here in Nashville, I was trying to figure out exactly where we were going to start and kind of seed the conversation. And one thing I loved about the Nashville racetrack is that you always knew who won the races. Bobby, wasn't that right? There was never any dispute at the end of the races as to who won the race?
Hardly ever.
All right, now who won that day? Was it you or Cale?
Well, no, they gave Cale the win.
Yeah.
And he still has
They
it.
didn't give it to me. I want it.
They gave, a lot of strange things went on, but the Gasaway brothers, now Bill ran things, and Bill really was totally expressionless. You couldn't tell whether he liked what you did or didn't like what you did. But Joe, if he was mad, you could tell it from 200 feet away, and if he was happy, you could tell it from 300 feet away. And so it was one of those situations where old Joe, he really jumped in there. And probably the best way I can position Joe, he did whatever he thought he needed to do. Marty Robbins wanted to go racing, and I had a Dodge, and so we painted it up for Marty, and we took it to Talladega for him. And Marty wanted to pass Richard Petty. He just wanted to pass Richard Petty really bad. So I fixed the carburetor so the rings fell out of it. So Marty went out there and he passed Richard Petty. And he came in, he told Joe Gasaway, he said, I'm cheating, I want to be put all the way to the end of the line. So he thought he was doing all the right things, and go to the end of the line. He didn't know how many of those other guys had rings that fell out and were out there still racing. But anyway, Joe Gasaway got really mad. Well, I had fixed the carburetor, but he knew right then he couldn't do anything directly to me, so he fined my brother Eddie $1,000 and took his NASCAR license away. So, those kind of things went on. Well, I had a little trouble with Joe Gasaway here, too. So, one night, I finished second here to a guy, and I was sitting there at the gas pump. In those days, we went to the gas pump, to the scale, and then the winner went to Victory Lane, and the next four went to their truck. So I was sitting at the gas pump, and the guy that won got out of his car, and hey, Joe Gasaway, come here. Joe Gasaway, come here. So Joe came walking over there. I got out of my car. What's this all about? I said, Joe, Bobby's got left side tires on the right. Old Joe says, I'm going to fine you $1,000 a tire. So I said, wow, Joe, he's got them on the right there, too. Old Joe turns around and he says, we ain't looking at him. We're looking at you. and that guy went to Victory Lane with left side tires on the right, and I paid a $2,000 fine.
You had a deal here, didn't you? 84?
I'm not real comfortable with him and these other guys sitting behind me. I really am not.
Hey, Darrell, they said it's just like old times?
Yeah.
I said, look who's behind me.
Do you think he set it up this way?
And you know what he said? He said, don't worry, he can't spin you out. I said, you don't know Cale.
That's right. He can turn you over. No, anything that Bobby says, I refer to Junior because I was just the driver. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened to those cars and all those things, there's a man over there that...
Junior didn't call Joe Gasaway.
I'll tell you a Joe Gasaway story, though, since we're telling Joe Gasaway stories. We're at Talladega, and at the time you had to have 2 windshield braces in your windshield. Well, they changed the rule to where you had to have 3 windshield braces in your windshield to hold the windshield in. So we're at Talladega, we're getting ready to practice. Joe comes down and says, you're not going on the track till you put that 3rd windshield brace in there. I said, Joe, just let us practice, we'll fix it later. No way, you're not going on the track. So I said, all right. So I went to the toolbox, got me a roll of black tape, crawled inside the car, and I put me a piece of black tape on the windshield, and I went and got Joe, and I said, now, are you happy now? Go on out. So that fixed that.
There you go.
But I think Junior probably can tell you the best Nashville story, or one of the best ones, when me and Neil fought who was going to get in victory circle. And Beatty could get in on that too.
Yeah, Neil won the race, and Darrell got it.
Do what?
No, they had a mix-up. A caution flag came out, and they did really flag Neil the winner of the race. And here I am over in the truck with, I guess, Beatty and Gasway and all of them.
Yeah.
Trying to get things straightened out because I'd run first and second with the two cars with them, and it didn't really bother me which one I was willing as far as that goes. But I felt like I was going to leave out there, and one of them wasn't going to want to drive no more. So, but Darrell really won the race. They just got the thing mixed up for a lap or two, and Neil was flagged the winner of it. But Neil understand, and he was in the winner's circle. Of course, I went to the winner's circle with him. I told him, I said, Neil, I think we got the wrong driver. And he said, what do you mean? He said, didn't I win this thing? So I said, no, I don't think you did. But he got the trophy and got to kiss the girls, and Darrell, he squawked and carried on for about an hour. They finally gave him the race, and we went on.
I already had a guitar, so I didn't care.
I think one of my memories of coming to Nashville is when it was high bank. What was it bank?
35 degrees.
35 degrees.
35
I don't know,
degrees.
some tremendous amount. But anyway, I just started driving from Herman Bean. And, you know, Herman was the guy that, when the race started, the Turtle, and he just rode all day, but had good equipment, had pretty good cars. And so he gave me a chance to start driving for him. And we came up here, and I had never been to Nashville before, and boy, those banks were straight up, you know, and awesome-looking place. And I won't ever forget, there was a billboard down in one of the turns with a big old clown, had a big old mouth, grinning. And the race got started, and Buck Baker and somebody, Buddy's daddy, Buck Baker, and somebody tangled up, and Tiny Lund, I think, all tangled up. And Buck's car went through that clown's mouth. I won't ever forget that, the billboard. I mean, just out of the racetrack through the billboard. But the funny part about it is I slowed down, and Tiny Lund's car caught on fire. And he jumped out of the car. You know, Tiny weighed, 350 pounds or whatever, and 6'8" or what it was. But he came down that 35-degree bank. He couldn't stop. But he came down there and ran into the side of Herman's car and bent the door in, my car that I was driving, and bent the door in on that thing. And I'm telling you, when the race was over, Herman was so mad he couldn't understand it, because Tiny had run into the side of his car on his feet and bent the door in.
Did your daddy get any kind of a prize for that accuracy right through the clown's face?
No, I don't think so. But what was the guy that was the harbor pilot that we raced against in Columbia and Savannah and all?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the guy weighed, I'm telling this on Bud Moore, because we were running in Savannah, and Bud and this guy were having a terrible battle, and somehow Bud knocked him into the wall. Well, he went down there to see if he was all right. Well, the guy was really mean, and I come by there and I saw Bud had his arms around his leg like he was dragging him out of the car, and I said, have you lost your mind? That guy will kill you. And he said, I ain't trying to drag him out, I'm holding him in.
He's trying to get out that car to get at me, man. I was just holding him tight as I could. Everybody cheered. You know remember how when you used to get in trouble, they'd all hang through the fence on the front straightaway and scream at you and holler and pull guns and knives. I said, man, if I ever get out of here alive, I'll be lucky. Cale was talking about them bank track in Nashville. First time I ever come up here and seen this place, I know where you're coming from, because they introduced me to all the previous champions and people that won all their divisions, and they were all in wheelchairs. I ain't lying to you.
If you're a die-hard racing fan, you've got to have this series of tapes. In October, 24 racing legends spent the day at that Fast Car Cafe in Nashville telling stories on each other and on themselves. If you've ever wanted to go behind the wall on pit row and hear the stories, this is the next best thing to being there. Racing legends telling on themselves and each other.
As a very young boy, he was my hero. You know, when I was...
Lord have mercy. He was he was running.
I used to slip under the fence.
When I was working in the service station.
I used to slip under the fence to watch David Pearson drive. What a driver he was. And I mean, I grew up in the shadow of David Pearson, believe me.
I was pumping gas when he was out racing. That's the truth.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-267-7533 to get the special introductory price on these historic videos.
When Cale, he ran into me on the last lap over the third turn and bumped me up out of the way and won the race. And, of course, I had to, try to pursue after him.
How did it feel down that ball down there,
Pretty embarrassing.
Dale's hit a lot of people at Michigan. He's done that to me one time up there.
Never hit you, David.
Every time I run.
How many people in here has Cale hit?
These videos are not available anywhere else. You can only get them by calling the 800 number on your TV screen. Each video is being introduced at just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. If you order all 4 videos, just $79.80 plus shipping and handling, you will save $12.85 in shipping and handling charges. Call 1-800-267-7533 right now. 100% guaranteed. If you're not happy, just return the tapes for a full refund.
Right here's one of them. I wanted Buddy to tell about his crash at, I think it was Smoky Mountain Speedway.
Don Neyman's place. Great story.
That thing's been in every newspaper and just about everything, but it actually happened. I blew a right front tire at the old Smoky Mountain Raceway. Went head on into the wall, and I broke about 4 or 5 ribs on the right-hand side there. And they sent a guy out there about the size of... about 145 pounds to get hold of me, and I weighed 225 pounds then. And first off, he got me by the head and tried to take me out of the car. And then they brought this little gurney out there with these little small wheels on them, and the thing was 6 foot tall, and they had an old Pontiac ambulance there. And this guy finally gets some help, and they get me on there. Well, they put the straps on me, and they carry me over this old Pontiac. I can still remember seeing that Indian on, it looked like he was on fire, had that big red face on it there. And I'm going, man, I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. And they put me up in the back of that thing, and here goes this ambulance, wadding around the corner, and I go, golly, I don't think I run this fast tonight. So down to the back straightaway, stops like so, and they have to open the gate, and you have to leave from the back straightaway. Well, I'm laying there like this, and I'm going, oh, man. And about that time, this guy hit the accelerator, the back door flew open. They didn't tighten the wheels up on the thing. I shoot out in front. They hadn't put a red flag out, so people are coming out of the pit. And I'm going round and round down the racetrack like that. And I see these cars going, whoo, 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 on both sides, and I went, I got to do something. I got to do something. And I got one arm out of the straps like that, and I started doing like that. Well, I went down, hit in the red mud on the inside of the racetrack, and this gurney goes end over end down there. And the little guy come up there, and he said, are you hurt? And I said, no, I'm dead. All you got to do is just cover me up here. Well, we went on in, and that was the first time I had anything to do with Don Neyman. He would later on become the president of Talladega Motor Speedway, and
that's funny.
I'm telling you, I thought I was going to die right there. If I hadn't got my arm out, I know Joe Frazon would hit me head on. He was coming right down the back straightaway, and I got my arm out and started doing that, and that got his attention. He said he didn't know what it was. He thought it was a hood going down there.
Remember the day you broadcast from the bathroom? Remember that story?
Yeah, I was working the pits for MRN and needed to go to the bathroom. Of course, we know back then the restroom was right up on the front stretch, heck, just 20 or 30 feet behind the pits. And Barney, I guess, said, let's go to the pits, and Ned Jarrett and Richard Petty was about to come in and make a pit stop, and he's leading the race, and there I was standing in there doing my business, and Barney threw it down to me, and I had a stopwatch around my neck, and I heard the car come to a halt, and I looked at that thing. I described the pit stop. They changed 2 tires, putting in a can of fuel, and down and away in 17 seconds. You could hear it all, you know, so I didn't need to see what was going on, and come to find out, I called it just perfect. Probably been looking at it.
The guys next to you, though, they were the ones who were giving the great looks there in the bathroom. 3 guys standing right next to Ned.
You were luckier than I was, because when Richard had his big turnover at Daytona, that was one of those races where it had stabilized, not much was happening, and it was when they were building the brand new facility at Daytona, and the only restrooms were all the way on the roof. Remember that, Eli? Mm-hmm. They had them all the way on top. And I guess I'd had too much coffee that morning, and so it was, 150, 175 miles into the race, and things are just kind of motoring along, and I said to Bob Stenner, the producer, can I take a break for just a couple of minutes? He said, well, we're going to go to a commercial break, and I have this feature to do about Dale Earnhardt, which is going to take another 3 minutes, so you got 5 minutes. Don't worry about a thing. Went to the commercial break, ran out, ran upstairs, and as I was standing there, it began to get suddenly very quiet. And the next thing, this very young lady was standing at the door saying, "You've got to come now!" And I said, well, I really can't right now. She said, no, you've got... And that's when we found out about the disaster, and Ned and Economaki carried on. But talk about life's darkest moment. That was it for me.
You and Sam was probably the most well-known car flying around, don't you think?
Where's that?
You and Sam McQuagg there at Darlington?
Oh, going out of Darlington?
Yeah, that video has probably been seen by more folks.
Yeah, it went completely out of the racetrack. Sam and I were battling for the lead, and we just barely touched going into turn 1, and my car just got airborne. It just went straight up. Never touched the guardrail out of the racetrack. It went and hit nose first, and then over in, landed upside of a telephone pole outside of out in the parking lot. That was quite a ride. But let me tell you something about Junior Johnson. There are pictures that document Junior Johnson running the modifieds on the beach course in Daytona, on the old road and the beach course, of Junior's modified flipping through one of the corners. Well, Junior is standing outside of the race car on the racetrack, and the car's still flipping. That's documented. That's a fact. I've seen the pictures, and I've seen him standing there watching that car still rolling. How he got out of it, nobody ever knows. But Junior called me one afternoon. He said, I got a friend that wants you to go down to Charleston with me and open up a parts house he's got down there. And I said, his name was Gwen McNeil. And he said, we'll pick you up in Timmersville, the little old dirt strip there, and at some time of day we're going down, do the thing, come back. And I said, all right, that'll be fine. So Junior and McNeil flew in that afternoon. I got in the airplane, brand new airplane. I mean, a beautiful twin-engine Piper, and went down to the opening for the new store down there. Everything went great. Coming back, it was dark, and had been raining a little bit. And McNeil lined up. He was an airline pilot. He lined up for the little old strip in Timmersville. You know, I've been flying in and out of there since I was 15 years old, and that's where my airplane was, and I knew it like the back of my hand. It was about 3,000-foot grass strip, and McNeil lined up to come in there, and I said, Junior was in the back. And I was sitting in the co-pilot seat, and McNeil was flying it. So I said, Mac, I said, you're a little bit high, and you need to go around. A little bit too high, a little bit too fast. Oh, no, I got it made. So he kept on coming. I said, Mac, I said, you're a little bit high, and you're a little bit too fast. I said, you need to go around. I said, ain't nobody here but us. This is a short place. You don't know it. It's not embarrassing to go around one time, you know. Oh, no, I'm going to make it. Well, I knew we wasn't going to make it, but I couldn't do nothing about it. And it came down, we was about halfway down that grass strip, still running about 150 miles an hour and still 10 feet off the ground. Wasn't no way to get it stopped if you got it on the ground. So he just planted it on the ground, and they had some construction bulldozers and stuff sitting out there, and the plane turned sideways, and we was running 150 miles an hour sideways, headed towards a great big old hangar. And those bulldozers, that bulldozer looked like hotels out there, didn't it, Junior? Went by that thing. But finally, the gear broke out from under it, the wing folded up under it, and the dust was flying, and it finally stopped. Junior Johnson was standing in the middle of the airstrip before that airplane ever stopped, and he was in the back. That's a true story, and he was already out of that airplane, came out of the back, already out of the airplane, standing in the middle of the airstrip before the everything ever quit turning over. So how he got out of that race car in Daytona and how he got out of that airplane in Timminsville, I don't know. But
so, Junior, how did you get out?
How did you do it, Junior?
Huh? How'd you do it?
First at Daytona.
Cale was opening the door and getting out and says, "Come on, Junior, get out of this thing, go catch the fire." I said, "Get over here, Ron."
That's the truth. You were standing right in the middle of the
Didn't you have your car pass yourself on the highway one day?
Yeah, one night.
One night?
Yeah, we used to race at Chinese Corner out Virginia Beach every Tuesday night, and Bud Allman was the crew chief, and we pulled it behind. He had a 55 Ford, and this was in 55 or 56, and we were coming back up the road about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was laying in the back seat sort of dozing off, and Bud was running about 90 miles an hour on this country road. There were no interstates back then, and all of a sudden I felt the back end of the tow car wiggle a little bit, and it woke me up, and I sat up and I looked over to my left, and here come that 37 Ford right up beside of us. And what had happened, see, we had those man-made tow bars, and you stick a rod through the end of the frame and the tow hitch, and then you put a Carter key in there to hold it. Well, somebody forgot to put the Carter key in there and secure the thing, and we'd probably come 150 miles since we had left the racetrack, but it just finally worked itself loose, and that rod came out, and here come that 37 Ford right up beside of us. Well, it ran up they're set up to pull to the left, and so it just gradually pulled to the left, and it went up a bank that was sloped, and it had enough speed and momentum. When it went up that bank, it cleared a barbed wire fence, and we could see that thing. We just had one little tail light on the back of it, and we could see that thing going down through the field, looked like a rabbit tail, going down through the field. It got right down to a creek, and it stopped. Must have been a quarter of a mile down through there. So we went down and got it, and of course we pulled one axle out so we could tow it, and so fired the thing up, got back up there, and didn't think about it till I got back to the fence. How are we going to get that thing back across there? There wasn't no bank that you could get a run. Don't know if I'd have done that anyway, but that barbed wire fence was still intact, and I told Bud, I said, well, stand back. We've got to go through it. That's all we can do. And so I just ran her through that barbed wire fence and got on. We saw lights start coming on in the farmhouses around there. Fortunately, we were out in the country, and those lights started coming on. I said, we better get out of here because we're fixing to get ourselves in trouble. But the tow end was all bent, and the wheels were going one way and another, and we drug it about 20 miles into a little town, and so we could be able to get it fixed, and blew a tire out right as we got in the edge of town on the front because the thing was towed out so much. But can you imagine if that had been in heavy traffic and that thing would have come loose like that?
When we return, the Allisons mix it up with Cale Yarborough at the 1979 Daytona 500. Do you know someone that's a race fan? This is the perfect gift. Never before have these 24 race legends been in a room like this telling stories on themselves and each other. There's laughter. And tales of the nights before the race.
Joe Fraser and Tiny both sitting there, and they're all together, and grabbed me on each shoulder, and down the hall I went with my toes dragging the ground, and I went skinny dipping with them. And I didn't do it on purpose. But that's the way he was. He wanted to have fun. Everybody else wanted to have fun. So they drug me down the hall and threw me in the pool about midnight.
Now, if my calculating is correct, we've told 5 stories. We've got 4 nakeds and 1 in the skivvies.
These 4 videos cover early days of race careers. Races won, races lost, and races disputed.
But Darrell really won the race. They just got the thing mixed up for a lap or two, and Neil was flagged the winner on it. But Neil understand, and he was in the winner's circle.
But best of all, it's the stories told by the drivers and pit crews and the riders themselves. Have your credit card ready and call the number on your TV screen right now. For just $19.95 plus shipping and handling, you can get the first 4 videos to begin your collection of these great racing legends. Or you can order all 4 videos and save $12.85 in extra shipping and handling charges. Over 4 hours of legends telling on themselves. Order now by calling 1-800-267-7533. If you're not 100% happy, just return the tapes for a full refund. These tapes are not available anywhere else. They are not in stores. They are not in a catalog. They can only be purchased by calling the number on your screen or by sending a check or money order for $79.80 plus $6.95 shipping and handling to Stock Car Legends, P.O. Box 24240, Nashville, Tennessee 37202. Don't miss this opportunity to own these one-of-a-kind videos. Call now.
How long did it take you two to get together and talk after 1979 at Daytona?
1 week.
1 week?
Yeah, at Rockingham.
In the truck.
They had to talk. No, we didn't have any truck meetings then.
No,
We didn't have no truck meetings then.
Not back in those days.
Really?
In fact,
I was 79 now. It's been that long
in
ago.
fact, it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm telling you what.
Ain't been 15 years ago.
It was 2 weeks. We got together 2 weeks later at Rockingham.
We handled our own deals back then, and NASCAR didn't handle them for us.
Well, all I know is I was in the truck in 79. I know that.
Well, you've had the You've had the pleasure a lot more than the rest of us combined of being in the truck. Okay, but we got together 2 weeks after that at Rockingham in the 3rd and 4th turn.
How'd you get it worked out?
Well, the wreckers came and got us.
No, 2
That's
weeks
right, they
after.
did at Rockingham. And that was really an accident, though, wasn't it, Donnie?
Oh yeah, all of them were accidents. All of them were accidents. But it wasn't good because a lot of other people got involved, and it was Cale and I were racing hard, and nothing happened. As far as getting together and being friends again, I don't know that's ever happened yet.
Wait a minute, guys. I've seen this show. Don't do it.
Hey, Donnie, Cale's getting red again. Getting a little bright.
And he's behind, too. He's behind you.
Bobby's way over there. I was gonna say, how about Bruiser over here? What was your
He'll show up.
what was your recollection of that whole deal?
He'll drive up.
Let me tell you one old Bobby.
Bobby was in hog heaven. He went to a race and a fight broke out. He was in hog heaven.
I was going along, you know, I was ahead of them on the track. My crew came on the radio and said, give them a lot of room. They're racing. I said, I will drive down in the grass if I have to. They never got to me. I looked back and they're wrecking. Well, I had to go around and get the checker flag. So I had to pass the wreckage once, went and got the checker flag. So I decided, well, I'll stop and give Donnie a ride. So
Not me. You want to go give me a ride? That's what I got mad about. You wanted to take Donnie and leave me there.
I couldn't tell exactly what you had mad about, but I found out you were mad. So I stopped, and Cale's way over there, and Donnie's over here, and I said, want a ride? He said, no, go on. I'll get a ride. Well, with that, Cale came running at me, hollering it was my fault that the wreck happened. And, you know, I couldn't understand this. I think I questioned his ancestry. But I'm not sure. Well, he came running a little bit closer, you know, and he yelled at me some more. And I probably questioned his ancestry again. With that, he hit me in the face with his helmet. And I looked down in my lap, a couple of drops of blood hit down in my suit, and I said, I better get out of this thing and handle this right now or run from him the rest of my life. So I crawled out of the car. With that, he went to beating on my fist with his nose.
Oh, this thing's got clean out of hand.
If you need a good,
Hit it like it is.
if you need a good attorney, I'll represent.
Yeah. You was there.
He was a little bit riled. I was sitting in my car when this thing started.
Two of the greatest fiddling here, fidgeting with first place. Strikes in the last lap, trying to take it home. It's all come down to this. Out of turn two, Donnie Allison in first. Where will Cale make his move? He comes to the inside. Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He's fine. Donnie Allison flies. 6 career, and there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. And what a bitter defeat.
A couple of very hard men, very hardly upset. And Bobby Allison is stopped by his brother to help. There's Bobby Allison's car, number 15. They're leading them away. Darrell, Cale Yarborough there. Very upset, very upset.
And that one incident, you can still turn the TV on and see that incident that really excited the people and made the people come buy a ticket for the next week.
It was one of the first races
One of the guys
excited the press, because we were up in the press box. Tom and I were sitting next to each other, and I was literally on my feet balancing myself between 2 rows of desks like this, and I was standing up trying to catch
hit him.
Yeah, no.
No, he was yelling, Richard's going to win the race.
Watch the
Richard's
finish.
going to win the race.
Watch the finish.
I said, yeah, I know that. I want to see the fight.
Never mind that. There'll be a hell of a fist fight in the third turn. And sure enough, we heard Ken's voice come on there and say, and there's a fight in the third turn. We looked, you couldn't see it, but we saw images of it on the television screen that they had in there, and it looked more like a dance than a fight at the time. I mean, why this guy got one leg up?
That's why we've all been around all these years, Barn. We've had no lack of stuff to talk about, have we?
Well, let me tell you what. The one guy that really added to that the most is sitting right in front of me. Because the TV cameras, they did a good job of TV in that race, being the first live race, but nothing like it is now. And what the people saw was 2 cars wrecking across the lake. And he did the job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
His commentary is what got the people going, including the news media and everything else. And you did a good job, Ken. I'm not blaming you for anything. We were over there.
We need another deal like that now.
Absolutely.
It's coming. It's coming? Where do you think it's, where? I want to be there shortly, I think.
Probably in the next 2 weeks.
The only thing that I disagree with that, it's not coming in that same way, because you're not going to have 2 cars racing each other like those 2 cars are racing each other. Now it might be.
Now the drivers accost each other.
Now it might be.
And I even saw them throw Perrier bottles at each other.
Never before and never again will this room be the same. One room filled with the stock car legends you've watched for years. Now you can have this historical day captured on 4 videotapes for your very own. These videos have never been seen before. They are not available in any store. You can only get them by calling the 800 number on your screen. These 4 tapes are filled with great stories from the racing legends that lived them.
We won it, and I had hit you a time or two that day. My car was handling so bad. And when you hit me, you straightened it out. And I was going. I appreciate that, Dave.
Each video is available for a special introductory price of just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Order all 4 today and save $12.85 in shipping and handling. Over 4 hours of stories with these racing legends you've watched for years. These are the pioneers that created the sport. Don't miss this opportunity to own a piece of racing history.
Just in his birthday suit and all the time, says, pardon me, ma'am.
My calculating is correct. We've told 5 stories. We've got 4 nakeds and 1 in the skivvies.
Each tape is available for a special introductory price of just $19.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling. Or order the 4-tape set for just $79.80 plus shipping and handling and save.
Let me tell you one on Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip.
Oh, this could be ugly.
For the special introductory price, call the 800 number on your screen right now. Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-267-7533 right now. These tapes are not available anywhere else. You can only get them by calling the 800 number on your screen or by sending a check or money order to Stock Car Legends, Post Office Box 24240, Nashville, Tennessee 37202.
There's more cars back in there. Had about 600 counts of drag or more.
Yeah.
These cars now.
Cars.
Put them back like that.
And now they're down to 300 and some. Used to them old Monte Carlos or something, it'd be like following a big old barge down the water.
Yeah.
Right. And put a big old wake out. Now it's like following a little small speedboat.
Look how them 74s used to drive. They wouldn't run a lick but boy in the race.
Why didn't them things back out like your Monte Carlos were?
Which ones are we going to bring back? The old Monte Carlos or the old white Ford?
Well, they're the same.
Leave the Ford slick and bring the old Monte Carlos back.
Why would you want to do that?
That way you'll break up that.
Let me tell you another thing too. We got 750 horsepower. You know how much business we got with 750 horsepower?
Not a bit.
You got guys coming out of the truck series and the Bush series that got 500 horsepower.
What you need is
throw them out there in
the
them cars.
restrictors off at Talladega. You can take the.
You can do it at Talladega.
Yeah, need to take them off at Talladega.
Daytona might be a little treacherous, but
go 245 at Talladega.
that'd be good.
But they don't ever talk about reducing cubic inch or nothing. Right.
Well, they got too much horsepower.
Yeah, I know that.
Daryl, I'm sitting up in the press box at Martinsville with Billy. This is last year. And he's saying, Donnie, I got to do something to make the Grand National cars more like the Winston Cup cars. You know, wheelbase or something. I said, no, Billy. I said, if you want to do that, put a big carburetor on. I said, what the problem is the guys get out of the late models on Saturday night, or they get out of the Bush car or out of the truck into a Winston Cup car, and the first time they match the throttle down, they're so scared it takes a week for them to get their breath back.
It does. That's exactly right.
And I said the problem of it is, and like we've had over the last 5 years anyway, open wheel drivers or, IndyCar drivers or sprint car drivers come in and do reasonably well because when they drive their car and step on the throttle, they accelerate.
They have that kind of power.
And we don't have them.
Right.
I said back when we got out of late models, talking about Bobby and you and myself, we had engines back then that probably accelerated better than the Grand National cars they were called at that time. Once the car did it. It never scared me when I matched, except a couple times I stepped on Junior. But it really, it's what I feel like the problem is, more than anything else, is that all the other divisions don't have horsepower.
Right.
And when you get in a Winston Cup car, it's got so much.
When the Bush racing was the best, I mean, when it was, you could buy a Winston Cup car and go run it in the Bush series. You could buy a motor from Junior or whoever, and that motor there was parity there. You could race on Saturday and get out of that car and race on Sunday, and you didn't know the difference. But now it's just too big a change.
You're right.
These engines that we have today is 750 horsepower. Man, I'm telling you what, they're hard to control.
Absolutely.
And when a guy nails that throttle and he gets them old radial tires all heated up, he nails that throttle, he ain't got a clue where it's going to end up. Except he hits the guy beside him and he says, I don't know, somebody took the air off my spoiler.
Yeah.
That's all I hear. I mean, I don't know why he ain't got spoilers on them, because people always taking the air off of them. It's like a rock.
That's just part of the new language.
See, you're the only one that's ever experienced that. The rest of us
There's
don't
two
know
things
that.
I ain't quite figured out. Well, it's just racing, and somebody took the air off my spoiler.
Y'all the only
And the
ones
spoiler is that big.
Yeah.
And I didn't know there was that much air out there.
That's the single one complaint that the fans have today is what they see at Daytona and Talladega to them is not competition, it's a parade.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is the ones that used to see it in the days when there were non-restricted engines said that's the way it was. A man had a chance. A man didn't have to rely on somebody else to pull out and make a pass. A man could use strategy. You still saw plenty of passing. And now what they're seeing is a big train with everybody scared to death to make a move because somebody won't help them. They're stuck. They go all the way back.
You still had big wrecks back then, even unrestricted.
But the wrecks are not the issue. The issue is the competition, that nobody is doing any significant amount of passing. You could see 3-4 passes a lap back in the 70s and the early 80s without the plate. You're always going to see the wrecks with or without the plates.
But how do you reconcile the fact that the fans never sit down and they build 20,000 new seats at a clip and
it's the only game in town. It's the only game in town.
Well, mainly it's the wrecks. You take the wrecks out of the race at Charlotte Sunday, and what did you have?
Not much.
Not much.
What did you have? You had one car leading everybody else around.
And plus we were watching Darrell come.
Yeah, well, that was exciting. I don't know about it.
And seatbelts and all that.
How did you do that anyway?
Huh?
How did you do that anyway?
I got up in that Champions groove, man. Up in that high Champions groove.
Did they let you tune the engine that morning?
I had one of Junior's carburetors.
Cut it in half.
It certainly looked like you had
I had one of Junior's carburetors.
But you know one thing, you can run better without the big horsepower, like you were running, than if you had the big horsepower.
Oh, yeah. The horsepower is not the issue. don't want to bring up any bad subjects or not, but if we think back to 1983, we know what tires versus horsepower will do.
Yeah, you got it.
Raise them up about 4 inches and just leave them the way they are.
No, downforce is the driver's best friend. That's the thing that people that don't drive don't understand.
When you get the other end,
fog them down with downforce. Stick them in the ground. Make them where they won't hardly budge.
Right, then you'll see some racing.
And then you can drive them.
You got to put the drag in.
You got to put the drag in them.
Yeah, but how can you give them downforce without adding speed?
Oh, downforce takes away speed. The bigger spoiler you put on it, the slower it'll go. That's why we set track records now. They cut the spoilers down, raise the front up. Everybody fixed the front. Got a 5-inch spoiler, set a new track record. Put a 7-inch spoiler on it, and you'll be 2 seconds slower than the track record.
Make much better racing.
Much better. Yeah. You know, Bobby, from the old Camaros and all, the more blades you put on them, they wouldn't go down the straightaway, but they'd sure go around the corner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got them so freed up. They got 300 counts of drag. You got a 5-inch spoiler and a body that's a little bitty. They just go like bullets.
Well, gentlemen, now you see why I thank the Lord every day I'm retired.
If you're a die-hard racing fan, you've got to have this series of tapes. In October, 24 racing legends spent the day at that Fast Car Cafe in Nashville telling stories on each other and on themselves. If you've ever wanted to go behind the wall on pit row and hear the stories, this is the next best thing to being there. Racing legends telling on themselves and each other.
As a very young boy, he was my hero. You know, when I was...
Lord have mercy. He was running. He was running.
I used to slip under the fence.
When I was working at the service station.
I used to slip under the fence to watch David Pearson drive. What a driver he was. And I mean, I grew up in the shadow of David Pearson, believe me.
I was pumping gas when he was out racing. That's the truth.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-267-7533 to get the special introductory price on these historic videos.
When Cale, he ran into me on the last lap over the third turn and bumped me up out of the way and won the race. And, of course, I had to, try to pursue after him.
How'd it feel down there, ball down there?
Pretty embarrassing.
Cale's hit a lot of people at Michigan. He's done that to me one time up there.
Yeah, it's you, David.
Every time I run.
How many people in here has Cale hit?
These videos are not available anywhere else. You can only get them by calling the 800 number on your TV screen. Each video is being introduced at just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. If you order all 4 videos, just $79.80 plus shipping and handling, you will save $12.85 in shipping and handling charges. Call 1-800-267-7533 right now. 100% guaranteed. If you're not happy, just return the tapes for a full refund.
This week on NASCAR Garage, we'll go behind the scenes and under the hood to learn just what it takes to broadcast a NASCAR race, plus the ins and outs of a Winston Cup clutch, and a look at the exciting action in the Busch All-Star Series. It's an insider's look at the people, the machines, and the tracks that make NASCAR racing the greatest sport in America.
NASCAR Garage, this weekend on the leader for motorsports coverage, TNN Motorsports.
How many of you guys went to the White House the first time NASCAR was there? What was that like?
Well, I thought it was just really special, that our industry was invited to the White House by the President of the United States, who, especially that particular one, was a pretty good one, and we had a lot of regard for him, but we had a lot of regard for what the White House really was. And so we were able to go there, put our tuxedos on and go mingle with that part of this world or that part of this country, and it was just really special, I thought.
Wish Pearson was still here. He could talk about
drinking
beer with Billy Carter. But,
I walked in, and the first thing the president said to me as I got there was what a great fan he was of our sport. Yeah. And Jimmy Carter was a friend of all of the race drivers. He had followed the sport He knew each and every driver. His wife made us feel very comfortable there. It was a long ways from going to Columbia, South Carolina with a 40 Ford and running for less money than you get now to crank up and even start a race if you won, and to be at the White House with, I mean, it was, to me, a bridge that we crossed that made our sport go that next level up.
Legitimize the sport even some more so, yeah?
It was the first time it was taken out of its element and put into a national arena that the national press could not ignore. It was on page 1 of the Washington Post and the New York Times the next day.
He was thoughtful enough, and he was thoughtful enough, or the administration was thoughtful enough to bring Willie Nelson.
I was fixing to say, he came to Atlanta racetrack every race that was ran, okay? And I did talk to Jimmy Carter when he was the governor of Georgia at Atlanta racetrack. He says, when I become president, I'm going to have you people to the White House.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a statement. Oh, sure, okay.
Right.
When I get to be Richard Childers, I'm going to ride around number 3.
Yeah.
But he became president, and by golly, we all win. And it was quite a thing for the racing people to be invited up there and do, and then to have Willie Nelson come entertain.
Yeah.
And it was fabulous.
I was having a little problem with it.
Well, he just, when he was governor, he says, if I get elected governor, I'll invite you to the governor's mansion. And then after that, he would invite us to the White House. And then it was our car, Junior's car, Richard Petty's, and Bobby Allison's, I believe. All 4 cars on the White House lawn.
Right.
And Rosalind says, I want them cranked up, and drove up and parked in front of the door.
Yeah.
And they says, well, it'll break all the china. She says, I don't care. Crank them up.
I think that my wife May said it best. Here's a little Mill Hill girl, Tupelo, Mississippi, in the White House, having her picture taken with the First Lady. An awful lot.
Racing family.
It proved, too, how effective the Secret Service was, because as we checked in, they detained Tom here for quite a period of time. Back then.
Now, I tell you, the best thing about going up there is the freedom you had to roam around the whole White House other than the second
house.
That was the part.
They definitely opened the doors.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Well, gentlemen, I wish we had more time, but this has been a lot of fun today, and 4 hours have flown by, and we need to do another 4 hours again sometime soon, but it's been a lot of fun.
You know, you better hide some of this stuff. These guys like to take it back and use it for their business.
And I made a pact with myself that I was going to get me a job when I got 85. 85. Yeah. And I mentioned that...
You're working on that.
I'm working on that.
Oh, no, Red Farmer's here. I can't believe it.
What are you doing, Doc? I figured I knew Bobby would be the last one here.
They get you out of nursing home or what? The only way you can tell Red's lying is his lips are moving.
Well, Stroke, you got to start that stuff. We got to tell some stories on TV in here now.
Oh, yeah.
So we can tell, so we can't.
That's pretty special to me, huh?
Right.
Big names here.
Yeah. Me, Barney.
That's right. Legend in your own mind, huh?
Oh, them guys having no damn makeup. Me not having stuff. You done made them up. I can't tell about that.
My natural color. Somebody back to Timmy going down the straightaway. Yeah, anybody back into you going down the straightaway like that? The nose up. I need to go get your makeup. We start in 15 minutes.
You need to go up there. They got to take a paintbrush and do him.
They're going to use a roller. What about a roller? A roller. Yeah. A roller.
You haven't been made up? You got to go up the steps, man.
It's that up in this corner here.
Do I look made up?
Oh, look at that thing.
No, I'm not going out.
He thought I was winking at him. Well, you don't wink at somebody like that.
Lord, I got to leave. I can't stand it.
Oh, we'll be here when you get back.
You look beautiful.
I've heard. You're not proposing, though.
No, I'm not proposing at all.
There's one.
A few weeks after taping these videos, Dick Beatty passed away. We dedicate these videos to his memory.